Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Anywhere We Go. In this episode, I started off to ramble about speaking things into existence, but I ended up talking about astrology and connecting the dots on how my past actions have affected my present, and now being aware of that, reframing what I seek in the future, what I speak into existence for the future in the present. We go all over the place, but everything always makes sense in the end. So, sit tight, buckle up, drink some water as we go on a journey anywhere, everywhere, and nowhere at the same time. Let's get started. So, you have an idea, right? You have a goal, you have a want, or like you have a desire for something. You have a thought basically, and you're like, I want to do this. The next step is to speak that into existence. Your goals, what you want, you think of it. You can't just keep on thinking about it. Like, hindi naman, wala naman mangyayari kasi hanggang nasa isip lang naman. So, speak it out. Speak Now by Taylor Swift. And then write it down. So that is like a goal. If you want something to happen, not only do you have to think of it, you have to plan it, you have to do it, you have to surround yourself with it, and you have to be in it. So my sun is in Taurus. It says here that I'm grounded, loyal, and sensual. I crave stability, beauty, and peace. I'm often the calm in the storm, but can get stuck if I feel emotionally overwhelmed. That is true. House 12 Sun makes you a private processor. You feel things deeply. You feel things deeply, but don't always show it. This is one of the rare occasions that I share it. You may seem chill or chill seeking, but there's a whole ocean inside. My shadow is resistance to change, staying too long in things that feel familiar but aren't fulfilling, i.e., stubbornness. But our superpower is deep inner wisdom, emotional steadiness, and quiet strength. My God, if I tell you how many times I went back, I got down and I had to put myself up. I always knew that there was something. I always had hope. I always saw the light in everything. And I always believe that, even as a child, I've always believed that there is something better. At a young age, I've already felt that I was meant for more. But who I was not ready to accept that yet. And I don't think, yes, I deserve it, but am I ready to accept it? You can only figure that out if you align yourself towards becoming what you deserve. Hey, I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, let's go now into my next astrological profile. So my sun is in Taurus, but my moon is in Virgo, house number 4. Your moon is your emotional world, how you feel and self-soothe. So it says here that I am detail oriented, nurturing, and careful. You tend to your emotions like a garden, sometimes too critically. I have to take a step back a lot of times. Sometimes I can get looped if I'm not disciplined. This is what I found. Discipline is important for me. Self-control, but also compassion. You have to balance those two things. I have to be disciplined to stick with a routine that has been working for me. But once those routines become a little bit stagnant, introduce something new. Try new things that you have done before. Just test it out and figure out what's the best thing for you. Another thing that it says here is that I care deeply for others, often noticing what they need before they do. Empathy is a double-edged sword. I am quite understanding, but that has made me a people pleaser. Yes, I was a people pleaser. The only reason why I wasn't able to please people was because I didn't expose myself to people. I was like distancing myself away from them so that I don't have to please them anymore. So now that I am reconnecting with people, reconnecting with humans, alien ka, reconnecting with humans, I am confronted by the fact that I am acting to please them. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why is that? If you were a people pleaser, that means that attention given to you tended to be accomplishment based. That was subconsciously what you felt. What I processed as a child subconsciously was that I have to achieve something in order to be deserving of being seen. Thankfully, we are going through the path of realizing that I am worthy myself. I see myself. Look at me. Look at me. But that also is yet another double-edged sword. Sometimes self-love can be narcissism. And since I was dry of attention, I became attention seeking to myself. I don't know. Everything is a double edged sword. You feel safest in clean, calm, and ordered spaces physically and emotionally. So that's why I have to keep my room quite orderly. But sometimes I can't because it's a little bit too much. Just that's why minimalism has always had a pull towards me. Since the less thing I have, the less I have to worry about, the less clutter there be. And it allows for your brain to have more space to think. But once again, the extremes of it all is emptiness. So that's why you have to be mindful of what you choose and choose with purpose. Always choose with purpose because once you act on impulse, it tends to be not as satisfactory. All right, next. You may struggle to rest because you're always editing your inner world. Okay, so the shadow of my moon being in Virgo is that I overthink, I'm a perfectionist, and I have an internal self-critic. Ikot, lang, ikot lang, ikot. I mean, overthinking, perfectionism, and internal self-critique is negative to the self, right? So to make it positive, the way I have found to channel the tendency of my brain to overthink, to be perfect, and to be self-critical was through architecture. Because if these are your qualities, then channeling that into something that allows you to think about all the little details, make every little thing work, make it perfect, and critique it and just improvement. That is how you channel the energy that you tend to do to yourself into something productive. That's a tip. My superpower is a strong emotional awareness and the ability to nurture and improve with compassion. Yes, that is so true. So that is the Virgo of me that speaks. Baby, come over. That is how I feel in myself too. I really have to be compassionate with myself because once I say negative things about myself, once I keep blaming myself, once I keep speaking ill about myself, once I keep being negative with myself, it just makes it worse. You made a mistake? Okay, fine. Let's now go do the next thing. What did we learn? What should we do next? Because you know in yourself that you're going to make mistakes. People always make mistakes. Making mistakes, that is human. So you have to live with that. But the ability to make mistakes comes with privilege because not everybody is granted the same privilege to make mistakes. That's why it's only recently that I have learned all about this because the context of where I was at a young age, I really didn't have the privilege to make mistakes. That's how people were able to survive at the time. You really had to be the best. That's what was believed to ensure stability. You really had to be the very best, like no one ever was. You really have to work hard and do all of this and all of that. But with my brain, I have to know why. Why does this happen? Why? You can't just tell me something and expect me to believe it. As a child, I was very gullible. That's why my response was gathering information. Being on a quest for knowledge on your own could lead you towards things you shouldn't have known at an early age. Some things that may have been propaganda, some things that may have been misinformation, some things that may have been fear mongering. But without going into detail, it's fine. At least I got that over with. At least when I get older, there's not much that I have to think of. Oh my god, this is why the world is like this. This is why people are like that. Because I'm like, oh my god, yes, That's basically history. History is repeating itself. People's actions are already predetermined, and people are just like, But theory can only get you so far. My task was learning as much as possible because ignorance. Because I think that's the autism in me, or maybe that's trauma. I don't know, but this is what we're dealing with. The extreme of that was exposing yourself to everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the scary. And I didn't really have a proper system in place to deal with all of that I've learned. What I tended to do was just suppress it because I could not process those things properly. I could not. That was the best thing you can do, and that's how I was able to continue on with life without letting those things bog me down. I just literally no. It was the best thing that I knew at the time. And I have to be compassionate with my past self because girl, yun yung alam ko, okay? Ano ba't magagalit ako sa kanya? Kung ano yung alam ko now, magagalit ba ako sa sarili ko? Bakit? Should your future self, so imagine mo your future self is already, you are your future self. Papagalitan mo ba yun? Ano bang mo pag pinagalitan mo sarili mo? Will you feel better? Will you feel better for being blamed for not knowing what you know now? No. Di mo naman alam na ganun pala dapat. O at least now, alam mo na, okay? Do better. And if you make a mistake, do your best to learn from it, okay? Anyways, what are we talking about? Though that is my moon in Virgo. Ang gulo-gulo ng podcast. Ang gulo-gulo ng isip ko. But hey, that's me. Should I get medicated? I think I should. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're taking it one step at a time. There's no need to rush. It's like learning to fly or falling in love. It's gonna happen, baby. It's supposed to happen, and you find the reason why one step at a time. Yes, hindi mo mapipilit ang mga bagay na mangyari. Mangyayari lang yan. Just continue to act aligned to your values and to what makes you feel fulfilled. Okay, now with that tangent out of place, let's go to my rising in Gemini. Your rising in Gemini is how you move through the world, your first impressions, your style, and your approach. The first thing that it says here is that I'm playful, witty, and curious. People probably see you as lively, expressive, and easy to talk to. That is me when I'm in my element. Because the other side of the blade of that is going back to childhood trauma. My playful wittiness and curiosity was villainized. It was looked down upon. It was like, oh my god, shut up. The fuck? Di na lang ako nagsalita. Diba? Bako, nawara siya from himself. That's why I have those baby pictures right there. Hindi naman baby pictures, pre-elementary. Because that guy knew who he was. He was like, yes. And I'm lucky to have reconnected with him. But he's a child. Okay? He is honest, he is confident, he is true to himself. But he's not affected by the reality of this world. He is in his own little world. And my task is to be a safe person for my younger self to be in. That's like kind of my goal. These past 2 years, was to become the person that my younger self would feel safe to be around, who would guide him through life. I think that was my goal. And I think what happened to me recently was that I got lost in my goal. I put some other goals in place because you can't do everything all at the same time. Like, you can't expect to do everything at the same time. Like, my goal used to be like, be the best in architecture. But what it did was, without me having a strong foundation, like, okay, let's go with the analogy of a building. Since I am an architecture student and I will graduate in a year, but I will still have 2 years of internship, I don't want to think about the future too much. Let's take it one step by step, because it's a little bit too much to think. But I believe, and I know that it'll be I'll be satisfied with whatever happens in the future. That is what I'm saying into the world. I will be satisfied with whatever happens in the future. And kind of right now, I'm satisfied with my present. But it's not also wrong. It's not wrong for two things to be true at the same time. It's okay that I am grateful for what I've got, but it's also true that I want better. And you should use that to push yourself to like, yes, learn to work with what you've got. Let's continue with the analogy, right? We had the analogy of like the building. We have to build a strong foundation. I knew that I could be capable of becoming a skyscraper. I was like, I want to become a skyscraper. All right? But the thing was, the ground I was in, bedrock was not close. It was far. If I wanted to be a skyscraper, I have to dig so low. I have to have very big foundation, very deep foundation. It's like one to one. So to adjust that, I was like, oh, maybe I can't be a skyscraper. I'll just be like a I'll just be a one-story building, basically. But I was not satisfied becoming a one-story building. So I had to learn how to make the most of my one-story building. I was able to support a second story upon that, even though my foundations were a bit iffy. What happened was the building started to sink. The first floor became the foundation, and that first floor was already like messy and all that kind of stuff. So my internal world was quite messy. The weight of what I was aspiring to be came crumbling down into what I was and what I am, if that makes sense. So the whole building collapsed spectacularly. And you know what collapsed it? It was not an earthquake, it was not a storm, it was just basically the soil sinking down. And it came crumbling down. And the nail to the coffin was locked down. Since I couldn't do construction anymore on the house, I couldn't build up. I just had to research on how to improve the house, how to make the most of the house. And when I found out that I was in a poor soil, I was in a like a swampy area, if you can get what I mean in my life. And I was like, oh my God, ba't kasi nasa swamp ako? Tangina naman oh, dapat kasi nandun ako sa malapit sa bedrock, dapat kasi nandun. Like, okay, ano, lilipat ka, kaya mo ba? Kaya mo ba? O hindi, di ba? O di So yeah, I had to learn how to deal with the situation I was in because I'm like, the building is sinking, group yourselves into three. So, research tayo. Na-find out din natin na hindi pala maganda ang ating foundation. Ang tsaka na nga ng ating soil, hindi naman pangit yung soil. Hindi naman tayo nagbe-build like sa impossible situation. It's just it could have been better, but it is what it is. So the soil, right? A little bit mushy, a little bit unstable. So I have to build a foundation to deal with it. I could move the house. Maybe I would move the house, but I grew to love where I was, because moving the house is so hard. This means, by the way, to those who can't follow analogies, I am the house. The house is me. So it sank, right? It tilted, it broke down. Because what happened was I was trying to build up with poor foundations. And I kept pushing and pushing and pushing, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't do it. So it came crumbling down. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? I've decided to just improve my foundation now. I had to build them deeper, firmer, and steadier. But you also have to build your foundations to be able to withstand the elements. So yes, you do have a good foundation, but what if paano kung may earthquake sa buhay mo? Paano kung ma-earthquake yung life mo? If your foundation, if your building cannot withstand it, or if the earthquakes can be huge, you have to put ways to deal with it. And sometimes it's like this. I'll show you. To those who's not watching, I'm basically showing the Japanese design of, since it's shaking right to left, shake the building left to right. So what's on top stays on top. What I've learned is like I wanted to become a skyscraper as a child. That's who I wanted to be. And I'm like, skyscrapers are actually so inefficient. Skyscrapers take up a lot, so much money. The best thing would be, if you want to get something done in a skyscraper, this is an inefficient design. It's over engineered, it's expensive, it's vanity. So, to cut it all up in short, I wanted to be a papansin. I wanted to be a main character. But in the world, you are not a main character. We are all merely players in the game called life. Okay? And once you como said this surrender to the current of life, then you can find satisfaction in it. So I let go of the skyscraper analogy. I let go of my goal to become a skyscraper, if that makes any sense. And I was dissatisfied with being a single story building. You have to like understand your context, like the site constraints. So I worked with my site constraints. Now I realize that I actually have to build a deep foundation. So that means I have to create a strong support system, self-soothing, circle of friends, relationship with people, spiritual alignment, and all those kind of stuff. Knowing how to self-soothe is the biggest thing. But what happened to me was I wanted to build up. And I was like, I think I'm ready. Ready na tayo maglagay ng like third floor or fourth floor basta sa building ko. And then I built it. I was building it. And then I saw the building cracking. Like, habang binibuild ko yung fourth floor, sabi ko, wait lang, ba't parang may mga structural issues yung building ko? And I found out that I still have things that I had to fix before I can build up. Yes, and that was my attachment issues. Basically, I met someone who unearthed, hindi naman sa unearthed, that triggered the emergence of the cracks that allowed me to see the buildings, to see my building, it has cracks. I was like, I was gonna build the fourth floor. Oh my god, may mga cracks pala sa tuyang columns and beams. So as much as I would have loved building the fourth floor, and I was excited to occupy the fourth floor, if I built it now, it would come crumbling down. It would have been nice if I was building my fourth floor and they were helping me fix it. But instead, they saw the cracks in my building and decided to leave. Because I think I was like denying that, no, it's fine. I don't have cracks. The people pleaser in me, denying that I was broken, performing as if nothing was wrong, performing to please another person, and forgetting that being aware of yourself is the most attractive thing of all. Anyways, so now the fourth floor is, it's not finished. It might be built. Okay, so that's an analogy of what happened. I wanted a fourth floor, i.e., I wanted to be in a relationship, but it turns out I'm not ready for it. Who am I lying? If somebody would come to, help me with it, it would be fine. But me going out there and like, ugh, no, I have to fix this first. All right. Let's finish now my rising in Gemini and how I move to the world. So I am a mental shapeshifter, can vibe with many people, pick up things quickly. As I've said, kanina, it's a double-edged sword. I can adapt to any people. Like, yes, but sometimes I don't like the vibe that people have, and I'm like, oh, bye-bye. I used to adapt to that, like, oh, yeah. Ngayon, like, good luck on whatever you decide upon life, and may whatever energy you bring out come back to you. Yes! Because if you think of like the smallest, like, oh, baka pala may mangyaring masama, pero like 2% lang naman, o, di ba? 98% lugod ng araw mo, shitty na kasi yung 2% yung finocus mo. Focus on the majority, focus on the good, focus on the light. Sunflower. Let's continue. You're skilled at masking when needed, but that can also people mean misunderstand your depth. Also ADHD, I guess. Your mind never sleeps? Okay. Okay, let's now talk to shadow. Scattered energy, tendency to intellectualize emotion. Tendency to intellectualize emotions. Yeah, me feeling. So that doesn't help. With intellectualizing your emotions and scattered energy, you have to channel that again. You have to always channel your energy out in channeling in the sweet. So yes, intellectualize your emotions. You have to, once again, you can adapt that to architecture. That's why I think architecture is really my ikigai. Because building spaces, you really have to think of the people. At least, hindi ako yon. Kasi ako gusto kong tumulong. Kaya ko maintindihan ng mga tao. Pero pagdating sa akin, Steven Universe future. But I'm working on it. Practicing detachment. You have to kill, your ego has to die. You have to kill your ego many times. You have to reinvent yourself multiple times. And that is going. Who I am now, who I will be, I don't know who he is, but hopefully he's great. I think he's great. He'll be great. I can see that. It's like here's my analogy on how I see my future and how I look at the future. It's like find where it's a restaurant analogy. May analogy na naman siya. Okay. Alam ko na may restaurant. Dati, alam ko na may restaurant. Gusto ko pumasok sa restaurant dati, pero hindi ko kaya. Tapos pumasok ko sa restaurant. Wala pala na mahal pala sa restaurant. Eh di ibang restaurant pinasukan ko. Pumasok ko sa restaurant, ay hindi naman masarap. Eh di lumabas ulit ako. Ngayon, I had a little bit more, like may pera na ako. Sabi ko, kaya ko na ba doon sa restaurant na mahal? Trinay ko, ang mahal, di naman pala masarap. So, naghanap ako ng restaurant na works for me. Tapos now I'm finally in that restaurant. A restaurant that I like. And I am ordering things. Some things I like, some things I don't. And I finally have I think I have an order. I know what to order. And I think that order is being readied for me now. I can smell it being cooked in the kitchen. Okay. But sometimes the waitress or the waiter, who they them, she, shut up. But sometimes the waiter comes to me and I'm like, it smells like my order. It arrives, pero hindi naman pala para sa akin. Tapos iba pala yung na-dish. Nagre-reklamo sana ako, where's my order? Humalat ka, okay? Humalat ka. Pwede bang kulang so tao sa kusina? Pwede bang you're during in a matao? So now I'm here, patiently waiting my order. I tried ordering other stuff while waiting, and I'm like, hindi masarap. So yeah, that's where I see my future. I think what my something is brewing, something is cooking. I can smell it, but I still can't reach it. It's like One Step at a Time by Jordan Sparks. All right. So that was my sun in Taurus, my moon is in Virgo, my rising is in Gemini. So my Venus is in Aries. I love internally. I love me. Love myself and I don't need anybody else. Hey. Pero like, bawal ba? Gusto ko naman din ng iba, okay? Pero I really, I'm really happy with myself, especially kapag may pera. Nababawasan ng lungkot ng pagiging single kapag may pera. But we're only humans. Baby, we don't need no reason why. Come on, come over. You've been looking at me like you wanted to stay. When I saw you yesterday. We're only humans. We crave connection. My rising in Gemini, Venus is in Aries. Let's continue with that. You get butterflies fast, and crushes can come in hot, and especially on bold, independent people. You want real friendship first, but also chemistry and fire. Yes. Yes. I really value chemistry. I don't want to. And next is you're attracted to confident energy, but you need someone who respects your need for depth and stability too. That's true. My shadow is falling for the idea of someone and losing myself in quick sparks. But my superpower is passionate love, playful charm, and the courage to be vulnerable. Yes. Mars being in Aquarius, your Mars is how you assert yourself. You pursue desire and handle conflict. It says here that I'm drawn to unconventional, thoughtful people. I might express anger through logic or distance rather than yelling. Oh my gosh. Why 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 is it like a mirror? So my shadow is detached in conflict and afraid of losing autonomy. Honestly, I really crave my autonomy. So that is what astrology says. You're a mix of Taurus steadiness, a Virgo introspection, Gemini playfulness, an Aries desire, and an Aquarius individuality. So yun, hindi mo lang naman pwedeng matanong sa isang tao na like, uy, ano ang astrological sign mo? Kailangan yung lahat. Tapos, the best way to actually get to know someone is to communicate and through their actions. And that's how I build my foundation. Is this episode about becoming, building foundation, speaking into existence? I don't know. Now let's finish off the podcast with what I want to happen to me. I will now throw that into the world. I will find someone who matches my freak, someone who I can grow independently together with. What I've felt was is that I have so much love to give. And I just want that love to come back to me. But that love has come back to me in many different ways. And slowing down has allowed me to see that. The love I receive to the world comes back to me in the way people smile to me when they look at me, when I see them. It comes back to me with how, I don't know, basically that's what it is. Once you accept that you are worthy or deserving of something, that something will eventually fall into its place. But you gotta make actions, move towards deserving that. You have to push yourself with patience and compassion. Growth is painful. If you want something new, you have to let go of what's holding you back, even though those things are where you find comfort in. Because that's not gonna help you. If you just stick to stagnancy, it's not gonna lead you to anywhere. Connecting growth, stagnancy, there's also a dark side to growth, endless growth, like the capitalist system of growth. Because why the hell? Ibig sabihin ba kailangan mag-grow? Kailangan new things lagi? Pwede bang bumalik tayo sa what has been working for thousands of years? But yes, I think this is where we end the podcast now because it's literally so long and it's all over the place. What am I speaking into existence? A regulated nervous system. Yeah, that's just what I want. I also want the cringe of it all, the playful romantic things. But those are just, byproducts. What I really do need is someone who is patient, understanding, but honest. Completely honest with they are honest with who they are. They know themselves quite well. Honestly, what I'm looking for is just someone who's like me or someone who is who I'd want to be. I just want someone to share the burden of my life with and someone who I can share their burden with. Ang basic naman ng I just want companionship. That's it. Companionship that leads with compassion, kindness, patience, also a little bit of pushing to improve, a challenge, like a healthy challenge. So this is editing Daniel. We would love to add to the manifestations. Yes, we have the emotional qualities already. But with manifesting, you have to be specific then. Like, okay, now we got the emotional depth, right? Pero he also has to have pera. Kailangan may money. Or like, kasi paano tayo mabubuhay pag wala tayong pera? Ano ako mabubuhay sa naming dalawa? Ano ako? Saan to? Kailangan balance, di ba? Kasi as much as we would love to live in a world that does not revolve around money, that is the situation we find ourselves in. Being financially healthy, You have all your needs. Having enough money to feel secure in. And also, of course, nandito lang naman tayo, nagsispeak things into existence. Dapat cute. So, first of all, we manifest somebody who looks cute. Fucking cute. Okay? Kasi what like, nagma-manifest ka na like magbuti na yung ugali. Kasi hindi ka nag-manifest ko nung itsura niya. What if pangit dumating sa'yo, okay? Baka pwede naman yung like justifiable naman yung outer beauty sa inner beauty. Dapat balance, di ba? Kasi what if, ang bait niya pero ang itsura niya dumi, ganun, di ba? But naging Rufamine na ako. So yun, hanap tayo ng cute, mabait, may pera, at, a little bit of, a fiery side. Pero hindi naman yung nakakapaso, yung warm naman. Pero you never know what the night brings. The night brings anyways. So yun. Tingin ko dito na tayo tatapos. Kasi kaya ko pa magsalita. Diba? Walang tapos to. Go, go, go. Kaya kailangan kong itigil. I-stop. In the name of love. So, salamat sa pagkikinig. Thank you for the listen. Stop, look, listen, and learn, diba? Yes. So, yun. Manifesting the good things. At kapag may masama man na mangyari, sana matuto. Diba? Oo. Kaya, have courage. Stay kind. Decolonize the brain. Learn, unlearn, relearn. Ganon. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been Danger, signing off.